Okay, so here's the situation. The situation is you have a company handbook or a company policy manual, and you need to go ahead and distribute that to all your employees so they can go ahead and read it and then sign off some sort of acknowledgement. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and load the handbook, create a course, create an offering, and take you through that process. So here we go. So I'm going to sign in as my learning specialist, Matt Wagner. Make sure that you have all the learning specialist privileges to go ahead and do that. I'm going to navigate over to my client groups, click on learning, and it's going to take me over to the learning administration area. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to catalog resources, because in order for any course to be created that offers anything, what you have to do is you have to load a resource. In this case, it's just going to be a simple PDF, a PDF document that we're going to load, and we're going to turn that PDF document into a course. So the first thing we're going to do is add content, and we're going to choose add PDF. And the next thing we're going to do, and you could do this one of two ways. You can drag or drop or click here. I find clicking here is just easier, just my opinion. And we're going to come over and find that document. So we're going to find the PDF document, and we're going to choose the employee handbook. And this is just an example handbook, obviously. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Save. Save and close. All right, so what's happening now is the system is processing that. This only takes about 30 seconds to process, which is fine. But what we're going to do in the meantime, while that's processing, is we're going to come over to the Learning Catalog and click on Courses at the top here, because that's what we want to do. And we want to create a course. So just as a reminder, there are multiple layers to creating content in Learning Cloud. The very base layer, as you saw, is your resources, your files, and then we build upon that. So the second layer is your course. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a course, and we're going to title this Company Handbook. (2021). You can go ahead and title it any way you want, and we can put a syllabus in here, a description, what this is. For the sake of demonstration and time purposes, I'm going to skip that. I could put a short description in here that helps with searchability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and put that in here. I can also put this into the syllabus as well if I wanted to. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a publish start date. I'm going to give it today's start date. And I'm going to go ahead and publish end date. Now let's say you know you're going to be updating your handbook every year. There are little changes here and there that people have to be aware of, and so on and so forth. So this is the type of content that we may want to put a publish end date. So I'm going to put a publish end date, let's say at the end of the year. Actually, let's say this is the beginning of the year that we're doing this. Let's say it's December, you're rolling into the next year. You may want to publish this, and I'm going to drop this down to January 1, right? So this gets published. So technically I'm backdating this, which is fine. Let's say it was the start of 2021. And this is when it's going to get published. And let's say the end date on this is December 31st, 2021, which means that this will no longer be viewable to anybody at the end of the year. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down here, and I highly recommend that you go ahead and load an image. It just helps with consistency. Anytime that you create a course or you create a specialization, or especially if it's searchable, add an image, add a thumbnail. It just helps with the viewability of the entire system and your content. Sake of demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and skip that, but I highly recommend that. Okay. We're not going to go through prerequisites in this demo. We're not going to go through any learning outcomes, all that. Everything else, we're not going to drop this into communities, because let's say we're going to make this assignment or an initiative or something like that. We could put it in communities, but we're not covering that right here. What we're covering is the process, start to finish, of loading a resource, creating a course, creating an offering, working on and identifying activities, things like that. So that's the purpose of this. Well, there are separate tutorials for focusing on these things, but not in this case. So we're going to go ahead and click on Save and Close. All right. Now, the next thing that we have to do is, now that we have this course, we have to tell the system how we're going to offer this course. That's what offerings means. So we're going to offer this course in a self-service sort of way, self-service presentation, self-service access to this PDF. So we're going to click on Offerings, which is right down the left-hand side here. And we're going to create an offering. We have three choices. We have an instructor-led offering, we have a self-paced offering, we have a blended offering. We're going to choose self-paced. Instructor-led is very self-explanatory. That would be the type of offering if we're talking about creating an offering in a course that is sort of like a class. You go to a classroom, go to a building. It's class-based or online-based, online class, but it's live. Blended offering is when you give the choice. You have a course that is either you can go to the class, which is in classroom, or you can take the self-paced version of it. And it's an either-or type of thing. So that's very important to understand. So if somebody goes to the class, they will go ahead and get a completion status for the offering and the course. If they take the self-paced online version of that course, which you can do through a blended offering, then once again they'll get a completion status for that course. So it's an either or with a blended offering. Okay, so in this case we're doing self-paced. So we're creating a self-paced offering within a course. So we'll give this a second to catch up. Here we go. And we're going to call this Company Handbook 2021. We're going to keep it very consistent. Okay. And we just might give the description the same thing. If you want to give it a different description in your example, you certainly could. And once again, we have a published start date and end date when it comes to the offering. And what we can do is, well, let's make that consistent as well. So I've backdated the course. Let's go ahead and backdate the offering, and let's go ahead and stay very consistent when this offering, it basically, I'm not going to say expires, but becomes invisible. All right. And then we have some other things down here. English, offering coordinator. Those self-populate. We're just going to leave those alone. Come back up here. And the next thing we have to do is come over to activities. But if I click on this, I'm going to warn you that the system is going to say, wait, you need to save first. So watch what happens. Once you get familiar with this process, you'll come up here and click Save automatically, but watch what happens when I click on Activities. You got to save first. Okay, save. All right, so it's saving. All right, takes me over to Activities. And then the last layer in this process is the activity. So the activity within the offering is the resource we loaded. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to link all this stuff together. We're not creating anything really. We're just linking it all together. So anytime that you have a file that you're making an activity for the offering, you can give it a title, but watch what happens. This is a little shortcut. Watch what happens when I come into the middle of the page here, click on Offering Content. Okay? And you're going to see that I have this employee handbook example. That's what I loaded in the very beginning of this process. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to click select. And if you notice, if you don't put anything in the title, it self-populates that. So one less field that you have to type. Once again, you can go ahead and give it the same description here if you wanted to. Okay. And then you can give expected effort if you'd like. How long is it going to take you to review this document? Let's say a half of an hour, 30 minutes, 0.5 hours. Okay. And let's see, what else? And then I'm going to click close. All right, now from this screen, you're going to see that we have a single activity that drives this offering, that drives this course. Once again, layers. Okay? So the last thing here is, some activities and some offerings and some courses require or encourage an evaluation. In this case, this would be a good idea to get some additional verification that they have read, review, they will comply with this type of document. There are certain documents within your organization that you want compliance or you want an acknowledgement that they've read it, even though the system will give you a completion status once you open the file. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have any type of acknowledgement that you have understood what you just read or you will acknowledge what you just read. So an added layer of protection per se. Click on Enable Evaluation, and then you can choose your evaluations. There's, if you have a default evaluation, or you can use another evaluation, and you can choose them, add an evaluation. And keep in mind that these evaluations, these surveys, these quizzes, they have to be created in advance. And there's another area of the system that you do that in. But once you create them and they're in the library, then you can go ahead and search for them. I can, if I know the name of the evaluation I'm looking for, I can choose it here, or I can just click on search, and it'll show all of them, right? So the evaluation that I'm looking for is technically not here. I'm going to choose one anyway. I'm looking for more so a document acknowledgement evaluation. That's typically what I would name something like that. So I'm just going to go Learning Evaluation Short, click Apply, highlight it, click Apply. And then if I wanted to preview the questions, I can go ahead and preview it. Right? So the question or questions I might ask in this example is, did you read, understand, and will comply the document, so on and so forth. Right? And then this would be a yes/no type of thing. Once again, you have to build that in advance before you go ahead and create the course, the offering, the activity, and all of that, right? And then last but not least, is this required for completion? In this case, in this scenario, you would click yes because you want that acknowledgement in order to complete the entire process, right? So the learner process is simply something has been assigned to them. They click on it. Technically they enroll, then they click on it, it opens, the PDF is shown, they're expected to read through the PDF, and then they click on a link that gives them the evaluation, and then they acknowledge that they read the PDF. And that's what we're setting up here. Okay, so all I have to do then is hit Save and Close. And there we go. Okay, so if I click back here, and I can click back all the way to here, and then my courses will show up right here. Technically speaking, it's not showing up because of this date, but if I choose, because I backdated it if you don't remember, so let's go back to January 1. And here are all the ones that are, and here it is, Company Handbook 2021, right there. And that's it. So here's what we covered. We loaded something into the catalog resources, particularly a PDF that was a company handbook. Then we created a course. We chose how to offer that course, in this case, self-paced. And then in the offering, what we did was we chose the resource that we loaded, and then we also chose an evaluation for acknowledgement, and we tied it all together.